Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. We've got Andy on Grixis Delver versus Ben playing Elves. Grixis has a lot of the best cards available in the format, and Delver can set a very real clock. The task at hand is going to be to try and contain what Ben is doing and just turn that Delver sideways 6 or 7 times. Everything else can be focused on counter magic, discard, killing Ben's creatures, anything that buys a turn. Very, very welcome here. Ben likely going to need to stick with basic lands, as Wasteland a very real liability. Each turn that it sets you back ends up being an extra 3 damage from that Delver, and your life total just continues to erode before you can actually find a way to win the game yourself. Delver may end up with friends, maybe not. Depends on the amount of card drawing that Andy has. It'll typically be focused on just answering whatever it is Ben is going to try and do. And a Zenith for 1. That eats the Force of Negation, pitching True Name Nemesis. Another card that kind of marches on inevitably. And a Lightning Bolt takes down the Elvish Visionary in response to this Wirewood Symbiote. We'll see if that ends up being the correct line. The Symbiote could provide a lot of difficulty depending on if Andy has another answer. And Brainstorming as well to Force of Will down to just 1 card in hand, and he is riding this Delver out, hoping that that was enough disruption. Elvish Visionary. And Quirion Ranger now. Fatal Push takes it out, as Andy's just doing everything he can do to slow Ben down. Another 3 damage. 7. Now a Lightning Bolt actually taking out the Quirion Ranger, which is a little bit of a decision. I think it's probably correct, especially with a Dryad Arbor on board. But that does potentially represent taking a full turn off. Quirion Ranger shows up anyways. Wirewood Symbiote. And a Gaia's Cradle. And now Natural Order. Archon of Valor's Reach. Brutal, just undoing everything Andy had been working so hard for. A Wasteland takes out the Cradle, but I mean, at this point, Vigilance just dwarfing this Delver as Andy just was all in. So close. But Ben has stabilized. Now this Lightning Bolt situation feels very relevant. Ben at 6 life. A couple of Lightning Bolts would do it. Though, to be fair, it's probably Naming Instant. Yeah, it's got to be Naming Instant. So there we go. Yeah, against that deck, I don't think you would name anything else. Especially with a low life total, you would be specifically worried about Lightning Bolt. It'd be one of the only ways you could lose. So, and the sorceries are not going to be powerful enough in Grixis Delver to merit stopping something if they were running like a Wrath of God style effect in those colors, it'd probably need to be Toxic Deluge, which would be a joke in that situation. I mean, I guess Toxic Deluge is actually probably fine there, starting with such a high life total, because there was no real counterplay up until the very end. So Andy gonna see what he can do here. Tried riding out a Delver last game, wasn't quite enough. Threw some burn at some creatures that, if they were there, could have potentially killed him if there was a Crater Hoof, so it is tough to say. Difficult to fault him for his lines at all, despite it not working out for him. And we've got a Stifle big oof there. Fetch land getting stifled. And now Young Peasy showing up, and that's going to look to add 1/1s. And what is likely to be a very quick game. Ben needing to go to discard a Wasteland on board as well. And Andy at this point basically just wants more cantrips. He just wants cantrips to find cantrips to draw more cards and just squeeze as much value and speed out of this Young Pyromancer as possible. Of course, you draw the non-basic land against the Wasteland. Tons of basic forests in the deck, but punishing that Bayou off the top as Wasteland removes it and Daze takes advantage of the extreme lack of mana, countering the Green Sun Zenith. Ben continues to fight. He is facing down a 4-turn clock thanks to Young Pyromancer and the Elementals, and now Queer and Ranger eats a Lightning Bolt and adds more damage to the board. Now a 3-turn clock. So 5 damage per turn. Ben fighting with just a single land. That Stifle was brutal. And what do we have? Is this Vendilion Click presenting lethal damage? Yes, Click. Card that we haven't been seeing very much of. I feel like I'd like that card with Hull Breacher. I don't know why people aren't doing that. Probably just the intense mana requirement. And now Force of Will shutting down all hope. Adding the final body, which will be enough to force a game 3 for Xaxes. Yeah, making your opponent put a card on the bottom and then not be able to draw a card because of Vendilion Click is kind of hilarious. You just get a treasure out of it. Seems pretty good. Game 3, Andy mulliganing. And Ben has the play. He's got that Queer and Ranger. He's potentially going to be able to protect his mana base from Wastelands. Able to return forests like a Bayou to hand. Gaia's Cradle often able to just come out and be used the turn it is needed. And we got Heritage Druid in a pass, not able to use his mana super efficiently in that Wasteland. Now that Queer and Ranger has been cleared, is able to take out a Bayou, but Gaia's Cradle shows up. We have a Daze being thrown at that. And wow, I actually don't love that line. That Daze likely better off being pitched to a Force of Will or Force of Negation, or perhaps shuffled back in, just forcing Ben to use his mana there to try and slow things down. Doesn't feel great. Wooded Foothills getting sacked. Likely going to grab Dryad Arbor as it powers up your Gaia's Cradle and gives you more utility later. Both being, representing more mana later. It taps for mana and it powers up your Cradle. Or you can just go ahead and jam a Natural Order. That'll work too. Force of Negation stops it, however. And it's just a couple of 1/1s right now for Ben. He does have a Cradle. So he's got a mana advantage. He has a board advantage. And lots of things could come out of the deck that would be very bad for Andy's health. Right now, Gaia's Cradle back down to just tapping for a single green. And Heritage Druid, no friends. So not able to tap for additional mana. And there we go. Birchlore Ranger coming in face down. I've been waiting for that play to show up. When things are absolutely disastrous, the ability to get that 3 casting cost 2/2 can be very relevant. Andy not opting to take any damage here. And cracking back with a flipped Delver and the Young Pyromancer. This race not looking good for Ben. Likely not worth attacking last turn. Dryad Arbor can be summoned with a fetch land, but this Delver just persistently chipping away at Ben's life. Now down to just 1. Andy thinking about Stifle, and he will deny the 1/1. Allosaurus Shepherd gonna make stuff uncounterable, but now flipping 3 mana, 6 mana, sending for 10, so close, as a chump block allows Andy to stay alive and crack back for the win in a very interesting match. Grixis Delver trumping Elves. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.